May 6, 2024 shall come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
And seconded by Creighton. We approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And now to the consent agenda. Be patient. We have a lot tonight in the consent agenda, and you have several sheets that relate to that consent agenda in your packet. That being said, we have the minutes of April 15th, 2024, of which you have a copy. We need approval of quote proposal including governmental pricing from Duet Resource Group, Iowa City, Iowa for the City Hall FF&E, including freight delivery installation in the amount of $78,191.05, and that's in white on the consent agenda. We have C, approval of recommendation from Planning and Zoning Commission to waive the preliminary plat and accept the site plan and construction drawings in lieu thereof for Emerald Cove subdivision. That's the gold color. D, we have approval of engagement letter with Northland Securities as underwriter for the Surf District Destination Iowa Creative Placemaking Project Financing, and that's in purple. We have a resolution, 2439, a resolution approving the contract and bonds for the Music Enrichment and Immersive Center project, and that's in green. We have F, approval of the letter of intent with JMS for Stonebrook Condominium Development Project, that's in blue. We have G, alley closure request from Katie Casey Designs at 419 Main Avenue. May 9th to 11th, and that's in pink, number 1 pink. There's 2 pinks there. We have H, approval of change order number 1, 2024 basketball and pickleball courts project, the fencing. That's the black rubber coating on the fencing, a net increase of $11,656.36, and that's the second pink. And we have approval of the bills and claims, of which you have a copy. And we have J, the licenses and permits, cigarette permit, Pilot Travel Center number 407. That's a renewal, liquor license, special Class C alcohol license, Lake Theater Class E. We have retail alcohol license Come and Go number 301. And we have Class C retail alcohol license, Lakeside Landing, Class C retail alcohol license with Rumors. Those are renewals. And we have a street closing request for the Twin City F100 Car Club, Truck Club, I believe that is, June 14th and 15th. We have a resolution here, so there will be a roll call, but at the present time, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Bennett.
Second.
Seconded by Dana, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Creighton,
Yes.
Beth Ann,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
and Dana.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Now is the time and place for any citizen in the audience who wishes to address the council on any issue or concern that is not an agenda. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter the minutes. Not a discussion time nor a question and answer time, but it is an opportunity for you to present to the council any issue that you may have. Welcome, Ren.
Mayor, Council. My name is Brandon Rubish. Address is 110 Fairway Drive in town. Just wanted to give a update since we've met at our workshop here in February. I just put a letter together. It's exciting to see all the wonderful changes and progress you folks are making to our city to continue to flourish. We have been working on an exciting housing development that has great interest and excitement, and we need to keep that momentum going. This project will be made of high-quality product that will have a huge demand for a variety of people groups in Clear Lake because of its location, offerings, and price point. I'd like to share an update on things we've been working on since our workshop in February with you folks, and the following requests that came out of that workshop from the council. One was to remove the manufactured home zoning, just getting rid of that and changing all of it to a single housing zoning, RS12. A second item request was to place a larger row of homes along South 8th Street on the manufactured home side of it, on the south side, and also vary the lot sizes up a bit. Number 4, offer the stick-built lots to be sold, whereas previously we were just asking for that we were going to lease the lots. So home ownership, that also includes the land. Another request was to put an HOA into place. The 6th request was to lessen the density of the stick-built home lots and to vary the size of the stick-built home lots. So we're happy to do those updates on the lot layout, and the plan that I passed out there, we are able to accommodate every single one of those requests made by the council. That amounts to reducing our density by over 20% on the stick-built side. It removes 19 lots from the original layout. The average stick-built lot size that we originally proposed was 3,000, and now this amended piece is over 5,500, so not quite double. That leaves us only 72 stick-built lots and 45 manufactured home lots for a total of 117. So the manufactured homes on a permanent foundation will start around $100,000 on a leased lot. And on the other side of the spectrum, on the stick-built side, an 1,140 square foot home, 3-bed, 1-bath, 1-stall garage that does include the land ownership. That will be turnkey for around $275,000. With losing 20% of the housing lots from our original layout, we're going to officially have to ask for a development agreement of some sort to help with the off-site infrastructure. There's a water and sewer extension that needs done. I believe this project will help fill a large gap of new housing that is truly needed in our community in that $100,000 to $275,000 price range. And if we can get approval, we could soon say Clear Lake has an assortment of fabulous new housing projects, and we now have something for everyone. I'd like to finish by sharing a conversation I had 2 weeks ago with a fellow businessman in town. As Easy Wash, I do business with this guy here in town, and the owner found out I was the one, my dad and I were the ones behind this new housing project he heard of last fall. He and his son had been looking for a home to purchase in Clear Lake. I just shared the numbers with him that I shared with you. He stated that all of the homes in this price range are mostly available that I just mentioned are 80 to 100 years old and need a lot of updating for their liking. He's also keenly aware of the new housing projects as he rattled them off to me and said there's nothing like what we have to offer in this price range that his son can afford. He wanted to know how soon we would have a home ready in this new development. He's ready to go. So my ask tonight is for the council to help support this project by getting it off the table and approved. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Welcome, Mr. Keith.
Mike Keefe, 1106 2nd Avenue North. This has nothing to do with the fire department. But as some of you know, I inherited a lawn mowing business from my daughters. When they went to school here, we developed one. And I'm still doing it. They're out married, gone now. But I'm still doing it. But one of the things that I was told anyway, there was an ordinance about blowing grass in the streets. And I don't do that. If I mow a lot or a yard, I blow it up back in the yard and go on from there. But if you drive around town now, there's an awful lot of people dumping grass in the street. And to me, the authority having jurisdiction to go there and you see a yard mowed, it's not like figuring out who shot Kennedy here. I mean, the yard's been mowed, the grass is in the front street. You know, is there anything that says that they can't be issued a letter and issued a ticket, a warning or something? Because it seems to be the same people. I mean, I can tell you an individual that gets out about 6:30 in the morning, takes a hand blower and blows the leaves out in the street almost every day and leaves them there. And his yard looks great, but all the leaves are in the street now. So if there's an ordinance against it, I appreciate it. At least go around, take a look and see what you think about the number of people that are blowing it out in the street, and see if we could at least get the word out again that they're not supposed to be doing it. Okay? Thanks.
Thank you, underscore, thank you. That's well put. Is there anyone else? Moving on to number 5, unfinished business, which we have none. Number 6A, 2024 alley improvement project between North 8th and North 9th Street and Main Avenue and First Avenue North. Intro.
I'll just give a quick intro, and then Matt can review the bid tabulation with you. The gold sheets in your packet address this item, Council. First gold sheets, the resolution making award a contract for the 2024 alley reconstruction project. Of course, this is the alleyway that's located between North 8th Street and North 9th Street and between Main Avenue and First Avenue North. And if you recall back at one of our meetings in April, the council had set the date for the bid letting on this project for May 2nd at 11 o'clock here in the council chambers at City Hall. I think the city engineer explained previously when we set that date, we were scaling the project back, even though the project had been designed in its entirety for the full length of the alley running east and west there. We're only going to proceed with roughly about half, the west half there, due to significant grade changes that affect the eastern portion of the alley, specifically where the approach is onto North 9th Street, and the property owner on the south side of the alley there having some future plans potentially to redo the garage located on that property. So we thought, caucusing with some of the area residents and talking to that property owner, that it would just be better advised to hold off on that piece of the alley and construct those improvements once there's some resolution with respect to that garage, rather than having to put the pavement in and potentially risk having it torn up a little bit later on. So following that resolution is a bid tabulation that was prepared by the consulting engineer on the project, Veenstra and Kim. And Matt's going to review that bid tabulation here with you in a moment. I would just only add that, again, this is a fiscal year 24 budgeted project, so we do anticipate the work completed prior here to June 30th. And it's refreshing to see, for a change, that the bids came in significantly under what the engineer's estimate of the probable cost of construction was. So in light of those good numbers, about 20% under what the estimate was, we would definitely recommend proceeding with this project and taking advantage of that good number on this one. So, and I don't have anything further, so Matt.
Matthew.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Got me again, Scott. All that preparation. So, as Scott said, we recently held the public bid letting here this past Thursday at 11 a.m. here in the council chambers, where we opened bids from 3 different contractors. The first of which was Larry Elwood Concrete, and his bid came in at $71,757. The second bidder was Larson Contracting, with a bid of $63,236.32, and the third bidder was Shane Munson Construction, who had a bid at $65,354. So it would be my recommendation to award the contract to the lowest responsible bidder, which was Larson Contracting on this one. As Scott said, bids came in about 20% lower. Just on a side note there, and an update, kind of as you can see, the bidding environment, we were recently tasked with a lot of projects that had high bids coming in, and now Jason's previous cost opinion came in on this project around $78,000, which thanks a lot, Jason, for making me look good up here, because it's always hard to explain when projects come in higher, but he did me a solid on this one. So, no, I think we're really happy with everything and looking forward to get this project going. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Only also add that Larson has done work for the city previously and on an alley project, as a matter of fact, so we've had a good relationship with them previously.
Any other questions for Matt? Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Therefore, I entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2440, a resolution awarding a contract to Larson Contracting with regard to 2024 alley improvement project between North 8th and North 9th and Main Avenue and First Avenue North. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Beth Ann, that we approve Resolution 2440. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Beth Ann,
Yes. Bennett.
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
and Creighton.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Resolution 2440 is duly adopted. 6B, 2010 4th Street, formerly known as Woodford Wheeler Lumberyard, building demolition and interim site restoration project. Project update, review of pay estimate number 2, which is the final payment. Once again, Matt, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So please note, this original contract price was in the amount of $168,144.00. The value of the project completed and stored to date, after some quantity deductions, was $164,081.40. We'll take that standard 5% retainage in the amount of $8,204.07, which brings us to that net amount earned minus retainage, which comes to $155,877.33. We'll go ahead and subtract off that previous payment of $140,790.38, which gets us to the total amount due this period of $15,086.95, which brings us to a completion of this project. And after we sign off and accept the improvements, we can pay out the remaining retainage amount of that $8,204.07 to wrap this one up. It's a good project completed, and now we can look on for future development in that area. I think it opens up a nice space there, and it really opens up some future possibilities to that area. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Really does. Questions for Matt? Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Therefore, I entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 2 with regard to 2010 North 4th Street building demo and interim site restoration project in the amount of $15,086.95. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
By Beth Ann, seconded by Creighton. We approve pay estimate number 2. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And now we need a motion to approve Resolution 2441, a resolution accepting the work by Charleston Excavating with regard to the above project. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Bennett. We approve Resolution 2441. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Bennett.
Yes.
Dana.
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
And Beth Ann.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Resolution 2441 is duly adopted. 6C, City Hall Security / Accessibility Upgrade and Remodeling Project. Project update, review of pay estimate number 6. Matthew, back for a third time.
Here we go. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So we're going to be reviewing overpay application 6, as we just stated. So please note the original contract sum with Hinkle Construction in the amount of $828,100. We had change orders this period and last period of $9,151.92. Those are basically encompassing our earlier lighting rendition in the conference room, as well as the iterations that we did to the vault room and got drywall in there so that everything was nice and pretty for the girls to do their work. So that brings us to contract sum to date of $837,251.92, which makes the total completed and stored to date $460,442.36. So we have 5% retainage of $23,022.16, which brings us to a total earned less retained amount of $437,420.20. We'll subtract out the previous payment of $227,993.79, which brings us to a current payment due this period of $209,426.41, which leaves us with that balance to finish of $399,831.72. Do you guys have any questions on the pay application portion?
Council, any questions for Matt?
And then I do have just a quick update here on the project. Do you have a question? Okay. Just a quick update. So I know a lot of you've walked through there. We got the first coat of paint. Primer's been put on. Ceiling contractors got in there today, so they're installing all the trim around for the ceilings. And that grid will be completed hopefully here midweek. And we also have IT coming in tomorrow to pull wires, some data wires and everything like that to get that put in. The plan is to have carpet start to get installed next week, so things will really start moving here. Eddie's Glass is set to come in hopefully end of this week and get measurements on the bulletproof portion of glass in the main lobby area, as well as size up a couple additional windows. And then we'll be on the ground running from that. And the steps out back were demoed. So that's all completed, and here in a couple weeks they'll be putting that back. He needs to get a little more manpower for that. And then the last thing that we're really waiting on here is going to be casework and then furniture, which furniture we ordered about 2 weeks ago, and I think we're about 4 weeks out yet on that. So that should come in pretty close to on project schedule, and we'll just be waiting on that casework. So hopefully that's kind of the big thing that could prolong this construction period. So hopefully everything comes in and we'll be right on time. So
great.
if you guys have any questions on anything, let me know.
No. Appreciate that update very much. Thank you. All right, council, I entertain a motion, excuse me, to approve pay estimate number 6 regarding to City Hall security accessibility upgrade and remodel in the amount of $209,426.41. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Dana, that we approve pay estimate number 6. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. 6D, Surf District Destination Iowa Project 3-Star Memorial Sculpture Review of Proposal. Mr. Flory, welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Refer to the RFP response from Broden that's included in your council packet. Kind of walk through this a little bit. I do want to give, as part of the, as you well know, the Destination Iowa project's a multifaceted project, and one of the pieces that I'm particularly excited about and have talked about here several times is this memorial sculpture of the three stars. And I've said previously, one of the things I'm remiss about is that we weren't able to do this sooner, memorialize these 3 legends of music a little sooner than this, but without the state grant, was not possible. So now with the state grant, we've got this opportunity before us. But I also want to point out special recognition for the Harmon Family Trust and give them their special recognition. They've been great supporters of a lot of the projects that we've been doing here recently in Clear Lake. I know Mr. Harmon, just a terrific guy. He's a great user of our wellness center. So you'll see him there daily, every day, walking around the elevated walking track. And his family trust is supporting this sculpture with a $50,000 contribution towards the cost of this sculpture. So great appreciation for his philanthropy for these kinds of things. So in terms of the process here, as you know, we go through on all these things with the state money involved. We have to go through a pretty detailed selection process. So this involved requests for proposals, and we had identified a number of studios that we submitted an RFP to and asked for a response, and we got, I believe, 8 responses back, and we evaluated those. Our committee is comprised of city officials and staff and members of the nonprofit, and the consultants. So we evaluated the proposals and ranked the highest 3 scoring proposals. So we had a firm located just outside of Chicago, firm located in the Milwaukee area, and then Broden Studios is located in Kimball, Minnesota, which is just a little bit outside of Minneapolis. And so Nelson and myself and others had an opportunity about a year ago to go because we didn't know much about making a statue. So we decided there's a studio pretty close to us, about 3-hour drive, and so about 8 of us went up there one day and stayed overnight and toured the studio and got to actually see how one of these sculptures is made. And so that was very informative to us. And so we evaluated these proposals, and actually Broden scored the highest. And there was a matrix of things like delivery timeframe, their process, engagement, fee, of course, is all part of that evaluation process. And Broden had come out the highest proposal for us, and they were also the least costly. So almost the same process that we had with the construction manager risk, where we had evaluated the contractor and scored that particular contract the highest of the ones we had received, and they also came in at the least costly. So it was a win-win, and so I kind of equate this to the same thing here. So just walking through the proposal a little bit, I've had the opportunity to talk to Nick Christensen. You'll see his name here at the top. I've talked to other members of Broden Studios in Kimball, but Nick is actually the founder and owner of the studio. And so he's taken an active interest in this project, which I appreciate. And again, much like the other sculptors, in particular the firm from Chicago area, that they were of an age that's relevant to these performers in particular and grew up idolizing them, so to speak. I think there's a collective opinion that, again, this is something that's long overdue in this art community. So he was very excited about this. Just want to mention just briefly some of their experiences here on the details you'll identify here in that first paragraph. They also did, when I first became acquainted with Broden, it was through the Prince statue. They had done a Prince memorial statue, and so you've got some examples of that work in your proposal there, as well as the Herb Brooks statue. And I don't know, hopefully you know who he is, but if you're familiar with the 1980 Miracle on Ice, he was the coach of the USA hockey team, and he is, of course, immortalized now. The statue is placed in front of the Excel Center in downtown St. Paul, and Broden did that sculpture, so very, very interesting sculpture. And one that I more recently came to learn about being done in Clinton, which is where this man was born, Duke Slater. And so if you watch any Iowa football games, you'll see that name on the field, the Duke Slater Field. And so he was the first black lineman in the NFL. He's in both the College and Pro Football Hall of Fames, and perhaps less notably, he's a lawyer and a judge. So but we'll put the football ahead of that one. So definitely an icon in the state of Iowa. So Broden's got a lot of good experience memorializing these great people. And we'll see a few others here later on. We'll go through those. One thing that I particularly liked and evaluated them on well was the collaborative client consultation process that they talked about. So being only 3 hours away, this represents an opportunity for members of the council, staff, nonprofit, consultant to be more engaged with that firm than probably the other firms, just based again on the proximity. But I definitely appreciated their perspectives on how they stay in touch with us throughout the process, and their openness to invite and allow us to come up during various phases of the project to kind of see how things are going, for sort of a check and balances on how they're doing. Then just maybe a little on their fabrication process. They use this 3D modeling process. It's very detailed. And they have molding and wax casting and all this sort of stuff. I did not know much about sculptures, but they're all made of silicon bronze. And so that was a new term to me, but that apparently is what all these statues are made out of. They then apply, when the statue's done, this acrylic urethane clear coat to it that resists all these things happening to it that might stain it, graffiti, these kinds of things. So that's applied on there. The delivery and installation, this is actually something that I negotiated with them on that, and hopefully they're not watching tonight, but I was able to convince them to waive that portion of their services for this. So not too afraid to cry for the cause, I guess. So thanks for them doing that for us. So what we will need, assuming we purchase this forklift for Jeremy a little later on, we will need the forklift available to help install that, and DSC has indicated, of course, they'll be more than happy to help if we need some assistance in installing that with the studio here. So that will be provided, again, at no cost. The warranty and maintenance, they guarantee the workmanship for a period of 20 years. Then they talk about just kind of the general maintenance, and they've described all this in detail. So they'll probably come down for the first time that we put this clear coat, this paste on it and clean it. They want us to do that like once a year. So our parks staff will be involved in that. We may have them get a refresher course on that from time to time, but generally it does require that, and they sort of describe that waxing process that they recommend that we do once a year, just again to protect it from the elements. And as they also describe, these are designed to patina over time, and so if we wish at some point to ever have it restored back to the very original patina, that we could certainly do that. So. And just a listing of some of the projects that they've done in the past here, just a small sample of those. The schedule, we're a little bit behind on that, but they think they can still satisfy that June 2025 installation date. So you can kind of see where the schedule is at there today. The cost of the statue itself is $180,000, and then there's a granite capstone that we would like to set so there'll be a pedestal that it sits on, and then there'll be like a granite base that the statue actually sits on. So that would be on top of that 180. So the entire cost of that would be $198,000. So. And then just again in the exhibits that are attached on here is the appendix. You can see some of the other projects that they've worked on here, just as a small sampling. The Prince one in particular that I mentioned. And then also Sinclair Lewis was kind of a neat one just up the road here a little ways, Nobel Prize winner for literature, of course. So I think he was the first American to win that. I'm trying to remember what the book was.
Main Street.
Okay. Good to have a historian. So that's about all I have on the sculpture, but I'd be happy to entertain any questions related to that. Obviously, we have to work through the design of it yet, and mostly, as you note from their proposal, they base their work largely on historical photographs. So we'll have many samples. You can't draw too exclusively on one, of course, but sampling of photographs and things to develop the images for the sculpture of the performers on. So that's about all I got.
Questions for Scott?
Just a couple of quick comments, if I could, Mayor. Scott, I want to first of all thank you for all the research that you've done on this project, and I think that's really important for the public to know, because I think this statue is going to be just a tremendous wow factor when it comes to the Surf District project. Okay. And it'll just really capture people's attention. I think it'll be just a fantastic drawing point for the public. And again, I appreciate all the due diligence, all the research you've done. We've had any number of conversations on this, and I think it'd just be very exciting to see that down in the Surf District. So,
yes.
Thank you.
I would only add to that, yes, it's very exciting, and to have these three performers. There are other sculptures of them around the country, but I'm not aware of any, full-size, like larger-than-life sculptures of all three performers together, which of course really is an embodiment, if you will, of the Winter Dance Party itself, to have all three of them. So in as much itself, that's what that represents.
Yeah, that's a great point, and it's just an iconic type feature for the Surf District, so Thank you again.
And, and I think obviously out in front of the Music Enrichment and Immersive Center, you look at many things. I'm familiar with Winterset, and they have the John Wayne Museum and Interpretive Center. Of course, Meredith Wilson has a statue right out in front of the Interpretive Center over in Mason City. But there are so many of these examples where you're able to kind of combine the sculpture with an interpretive center, and in our case, an immersive center, really I think the sky is the limit for this, and I do think this is going to be a tremendous attraction for Clear Lake. And again, when you look at the pop culture and what this represents, again, I just keep coming back to it's just long overdue, and I'm just very thankful for the Harmon Family Trust contribution to this, as well as the state of Iowa and to the city council.
Yeah, I just want to add a little bit to that, having gone up to Minnesota and seen the same area, the same place where this will be built. And I think, number one, the arts are something, and heaven forbid if it should come from me, but the arts are something that we have forgotten. And we're now getting deep in, nothing wrong with this, career and technical education, which for a while all we were doing was saying every kid has got to go and get their bachelor's degree at college, and you aren't going to be worth anything unless you do. And, even as I, at NIAC, spent a lot of time recruiting kids for career and technical ed, which we do need, and we lack there. But we also cannot forget the arts, and this is a part of that. As a kid, I got drugged reluctantly in the back seat of a car where my dad smoked and the windows were up into New York City to see all the wonderful, wonderful pieces of art and work there. The most important, of course, is the Statue of Liberty, which greeted my grandparents as they came through from overseas to become citizens here in the United States. That's the most, it's been broken, it's fallen, but they've picked it back up. They won't let you up in the crown, I don't think, anymore. Maybe they do, but I think that's long gone. I've gone to see things in Europe, the France, the Italy, the Greece, Greek thing, all of those over there are very, very historic, and people in those countries take great pride in that, which is, I think, missing here. And I thought when we were going to Minnesota, we were going to go once again into a town where there was a nice big factory, and we were going to see all this. Correct me if I'm wrong, we rode on a gravel road for a while till we got to this place, and I thought it was some guy's farmyard. And there was a building here, there was a building here, there was a building here, and each of these, if you've read your white sheet that came with it, tells all of the expertise in these artists that put this together. Very time-consuming, very detailed, very, very bright people in the area of sculpturing. And I think it'd be an honor for a lot of people in this area, a lot of people in Iowa, and that's what this surf district is all about. It's bringing back a whole bunch of the arts for this community to be the beholder of them, and for other people to go there and see, and to attract other people there. Remember when we stopped in Fremont and we saw all those out there, and those were WW2,
Yes. All the conflicts.
Korea, Nam, and even the present day, all dressed up and in all of his gear on, all done in brass.
Yeah, the detail was
covered
amazing,
appropriately. It's just, it amazed me, and that's what we will have here when it's complete.
Well, I thank you for those wonderful, wonderful comments.
That-
Magnificently said. But it made me think of one thing I left off as one of the other positive things in my score sheet was that the other studios, there's the studio and then there's the foundry. And so as you articulated
Right.
perfectly, this is kind of like a one-stop shop. You have the studio and the foundry together. So they have, no missteps there potentially. But the others were separate. So.
Yeah, but look what they have done and where their sculpturing has gone to various places. This one, Duke Slater, or Clinton, is that where it's at?
Yes, Clinton, yep.
That'll be very, very nice as well. Anyway, enough.
Excuse me, real quick, Mama said that no question was a dumb question. if the mayor challenges me to climb up on one of these statues, is it going to hold my weight?
These are about, yeah, they're definitely, we don't want anybody climbing on it, but, they're about 700
climb.
pounds
You
apiece.
hear that, Dana? Nobody to climb.
Yeah, so they're,
Just in case.
they're heavy, so now, and everything was designed, so they've had some examples. I can't remember, there's a severe case of vandalism, maybe you remember Nelson when they were kind of talking about, can't remember which sculpture they had somewhere, and it got vandalized, so, I mean, things happen, they fix it, and these can all be repaired, but definitely don't encourage the climbing and the hanging on it, and, so we want there to be some level of interaction. I really would hope somebody would not do that. Yeah, I mean, people can misbehave, I guess, but certainly, we'll have the appropriate signage up. But I think by and large, nothing's totally foolproof and vandal-proof, so.
No, but it'll be a great site for people to take pictures
Oh,
at.
my
That's what's
goodness.
going to be
Oh,
fantastic
my
here.
goodness,
Yeah.
yes. No, these are enormously well-constructed, so, I mean, you'll have some guitars there, and I think you could probably hang off it. I hope I never see you doing that, but.
It won't be. It won't be me. I'm just wondering how well built these things will be.
They're
Because
very,
somebody's
very
kid will
solid.
climb on
That-
one of those.
If Creighton's got all those kids, maybe he'll take his kids and they'll climb on it for some afternoon.
Oh, I'd much rather see Dana hanging off the guitar.
Just make sure you've got your shirt on.
Anything else? Good discussion. Thanks, Scott. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve a proposal from Broden Studios Incorporated, Kimball, Minnesota, in the amount of $198,000.
So moved.
Second.
Dana, seconded by Beth Ann, that we approve the proposal for the Three Stars Memorial Sculpture. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All same, motion carries. Thank you. Chief of Police report update on police officer vacancy, offer of employment. Welcome, Chief Colby.
Before I go to the agenda item there, our monthly report, I believe it's in your packets, I got a couple of things for you. Last month, we had Earth Day, and then followed up by, on the 29th, the department participated in the nationwide DEA drug take-back, so that's a take-back for prescription drugs that are unused, and so we collected and then turned over DEA about 101 pounds of prescription drugs down to the DEA in Des Moines for them to incinerate and take care of. Tomorrow, every few years, we decide to have a spring cleaning day at the PD. So tomorrow, we're gonna have a spring cleaning day for the PD from 10 to 2. And so we're gonna have officers come in, we'll grill out some food, and we're gonna take the day just to kind of go through the PD, our annex garage at Sallyport, and just go through and do a once overall throughout the entire building over there and get things kind of organized and cleaned up. We gather stuff just like everybody else does too, and so we try and do that every other year. And so that'll be tomorrow for all the officers at the station there. We've talked in the past about our newest hire, our dispatcher, Charlene Schmidt. She has moved on to her final phase of training. It's a shadow phase. So she's in that final process of training, and hopefully we'll complete that here in the next 1 to 2 work cycles for her. So it's not necessarily weeks as you guys would do for a work weeks, and they work 6 days on, 3 days off too. So every work week for her is a 9-day cycle. So hopefully the next 1 to 2 she'll be certified for solo dispatching there. And the last thing is coming up this week on Wednesday, we will have, the PD is hosting a traffic incident management training at the Wellness Center. And so we have quite a few officers. We've got fire departments from around the area. I know a lot of the public works crew, if not all, are attending. So it's a conglomerate of different disciplines that will go through training to manage traffic incidents, mainly for us, the interstate, US Highway 18, the major roads there. If we have a major incident, we can all work together and have the same training and have the same philosophy, so we manage those traffic incidents, both planned and unplanned events. I guess this is the last thing is then, as we were going through the PD for the last couple of months, we're looking at some things we can do some improvements to correlate with City Hall remodel here, and so we have replaced the water softener that's housed at the PD there for the whole building too, so we now have good, clean, soft water here for the whole building, which will be maintained by Culligan and taken care of there. Our old one had quit working, and so if you'd paid attention to any of the water faucets and stuff, they're kind of getting kind of cruddy and gross there. So that'll maintain that system there too. So that was just installed last week and it's up and running as of today. So, the agenda item there for our police officer position, we do have the one opening that was created by the promotions at the PD there, and so we do have a conditional offer out to somebody for that. We'll finalize that offer hopefully in the next week or two as we get final backgrounds, MMPI and the physical back too, and I'll hopefully have a name for you at the next council meeting that I will attend, which will not be next time. Captain Hines and I will be out of town for the next council meeting for the Iowa Chief of Police Conference, which is that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then ends Thursday morning too. So that'll be first meeting in June for you. That's all I have, unless you have questions about the monthly that was in your packets. A lot of information in there.
I was just going to follow up with Mr. Keefe's comment on the grass clippings in the street. I've seen a few of those and made some comments on that. I know we put it in our newsletter, but maybe is Paul out to kind of?
And he has addressed, I think, a couple of those
Okay,
already.
yeah.
We have a few every year, and like was brought up at the meeting, we do have some repeat offenders that tend to do that, forget, try and sneak by. Hopefully they don't get caught. Different scenarios there too, but we do address that as it's seen. And I know Jennifer and I had some conversations in the past about doing some modification to the city code there to maybe tweak that so we could maybe do a citation in lieu of a mandatory court appearance, because that becomes a civil violation there, and it's a little more red tape for us to go through to address that too. But we've had conversations in the past of modifying some codes there too, and so that's kind of one of the things that's on our list there and is in process too. So we're aware of it, and we address it as we become aware of it. And if anybody ever has complaints or any issues, I feel free to have them call and let us look into it. I mean, we'd rather, that's what we're here for, be called instead of not called on those things.
Speaking of CSO, a while back, and I may not have been here but we gave someone, I believe it was about the 4,000 block of 4th Avenue South, there was kind of excess junk cars, my word, in the backyard, and he was to come back.
Yeah, so that time would have expired just last week. I know Paul had met with him almost on a every other week basis, and then also not last week, the week before, and there's been some progress there. And that will be one of the items we'll look at and to see if we have any further action needs to be taken or not. But there was quite a bit of junk moved out of that property on 4th Ave South just before you leave town on the south side of the road there too. So there was a lot of cleanup there. And I know Mr. Ritter had been working with him about a building permit to add on to a machine shed there to house some of the cars or projects that he has there. So he would still retain possession of them, but then they'd be housed in a little more appealing environment. And I think the permit was issued, but I don't think the construction is completed. But that can follow up with Mr. Ritter on that one as well for you.
Yeah, I would encourage that, because it appears to me there's some vegetation camouflaging, so to speak, what he's got there. But
On the backside there, yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions for Chief? Thank you. Appreciate it. Director of Finance, Administrative Services Report. Jacob Woodman. Welcome, Jacob.
Mayor and Council, just a couple things to go through here today. So first I'm going to start off with going over the watershed coordinator position. So we did conduct interviews a couple weeks back, and I was really pleased with the candidates that we had. And one of them really just jumped out to the committee. In the interview committee, we had Mayor, myself, a couple individuals from the Association for the Preservation of Clear Lake, and an individual from Ventura too, because we do have quite a few partnerships with this position. So we did offer the position to Joel Schwichtenberg. Sorry, I knew I was going to mess it up. And he did accept. So he will be coming on board here with the city in that position. He has a really strong educational background, schooling for this type of position, and then also his work history. He's been working with Poet here for a number of years, kind of in that same field. So we're really excited to have him coming on board. He'll officially be starting here towards the end of July. So excited to have that, him coming on board. The next thing that I wanted to touch on is our health insurance renewal. So we purchased our health insurance for our city employees through Wellmark. And so the renewal this year came back at a 0%, which we were very, very happy with. In today's day and age with inflation and healthcare costs and everything, you never know where that's going to come back at. So to get a 0% was huge. When our rep was in town, he said there's 46 risk categories. We're in the most desirable risk category. He also, something that's just kind of interesting that he mentioned. So for our peers, we have a larger percentage that are females in our workforce, which I think spoke really good to our diversity in the city and just how we're doing a good job there. And then the other thing he mentioned was our loss ratio. So basically what they collect in premiums versus what they have to pay out in claims. And we're doing really well there too, which kind of is reflected in the 0% increase that we're getting. So one other thing I will mention, we did look a little bit at a partial self-funded plan, also through Wellmark. And just kind of with health insurance costs, we just want to make sure that we're in line with where we should continue to be. So I don't think we're going to take any action on that this year, but it's always good to get a gauge on where things are at. And basically, if we went to something like that, the city would just be taking on a little bit more risk with the plan. It wouldn't really change anything for employees. So.
I was just going to add just a couple of thoughts on that. Nelson and I had a conversation, it's been a while ago. We're trying to get more female representation on some of our boards and commissions. And I think, it gets lost sight of what an aggressive job we have done trying to better diversify our workforce. And when Jacob mentioned the percentage, we were not just slightly higher than others, we were significantly higher than others in terms of our male-female proportion for our workforce, so significantly higher. So I think we have opened up a lot of those opportunities that I think the public in general just loses sight of. And so even in the past when we've had an all-male city council up here, and now we have Beth Ann, so very grateful for your representation here. But people lose sight of the fact that we can control what we can control. And we have made a very concentrated effort to try to improve our workforce balance. And so, I just always remember, and Nelson will remember that conversation as well. It was terribly misguided, but we really have done an extensive job trying to get good gender balance in our workforce. And also on Jacob's point on the looking at other options related to self-funding, there's some interesting opportunities where I think we could get involved with a consortium of other municipalities, counties, 2080 agreement entities, and look at possibly underwriting ourselves a portion of the out-of-pocket expenses as well as deductibles and some of these things to try to buy down those costs even further. So we've looked at some actuarial numbers on that, and they look pretty favorable. If we didn't have so many other things going on right now, we'd probably be more aggressively pursuing it. As Jacob mentioned, we got the 0% increase this year, so we had, for our tax rate, of course, one of the disadvantages that we have is we have to have that tax rate set before we know what the renewals are actually. So we put in the budget a 10% increase. So what that will mean is for next year, we'll have a surplus in that fund, and we'll be able to not have to levy as much for health insurance benefits next year because of that 0%. So,
Yeah, good points.
The next item then is Wellness Center lease space. So we have a couple spaces within the Wellness Center that we have leased out the last few years. One was being to Mullen Camp Physical Therapy. They did notify us this winter that they weren't going to have enough staffing to continue to do that. So their lease, they did let it go the end of February. We were working with another business to come into that space in the couple months after that, but that one did end up falling through. So for the time being, this summer we're planning on using it for summer camps, and then kind of reevaluating things after that. Maybe seeing if we can get another tenant back in. I know Camp did mention if they can get the staffing back, they would be interested in coming back. So just an
The
unfortunate.
biggest thing there, of course, is that just a loss of income for us there. I think, what was that per month? Do you recall?
I don't remember.
It was
off
like
the top of
maybe
my head.
1,300, somewhere in there per
Somewhere in
month.
there.
And so yeah, that is a financial loss for us there. No.
Yep. And then, unfortunately, another financial loss there too was the Daily Grind has given us notice that they will also be discontinuing their lease. So I think the last day they're going to be open is May 17th, and then that space will be vacant. And once again, looking at potential options there of getting a new leaser to come in and run some kind of coffee shop or some kind of stand in there. We may potentially bring that in-house too. We've had some preliminary discussions on that. So we'll just kind of see where the chips fall there, but just unfortunate to lose that revenue source, but also could be a good opportunity for moving ahead and getting something in there that really fits the space really well. So, any question on that? The final thing then is the I believe they're the purple sheets in your packet. So we did have a request for our downtown incubator program. So basically this program, I think most of you are pretty familiar with it. We help new businesses coming downtown here with some rental subsidy to kind of get them off their feet and get them established on really Main Street down here in the close-knit area. So FISCO has submitted an application to be part of that program. They will be right down here, right across from Wilcox Furniture. I know they I think this past Saturday just did their soft opening. And so they will be doing soda and candy treats. So I think it's like a plant-based energy drink, and then also kind of a unique candies. And then I think something else that's really neat about their business and their model is they're going to be working with almost half a dozen other small businesses to offer different things there. So I think gluten-free treats are something they're offering, cheesecake from another business. And so it's just kind of neat to see them coming in and trying that partnership out with other small local businesses. And so I think it'll be a really great asset to the downtown area here. And I'd like to have you guys support for moving ahead with allowing them to be part of that program.
I think she mentioned, Jacob, also the hours she's going to have even open Mondays, I believe.
Yeah.
Is
So
that-
I think in the application it has that she was just going to do 5 days. She has notified us that she is going to move that to 6 days. So she'll be closed on Tuesdays, but she is going to be open on Mondays now as well. So I think that'll be really good news to have her open 6 days a week.
12 months.
She'll be open year-round.
So you need approval of City Council, Scott, for that? Okay. Council, motion to approve application of Kayla Nagel for FISCO at 417 Main Avenue, and with regard to the Downtown Clear Lake Business Incubator Program. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Creighton. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
Public Work Director's report. Mr. Jeremy. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a couple quick updates prior to the bullet point there. If you notice today, the long line painting got done here in town. Because of the price increases, we did had to cut some of the areas that we would normally do. So some of the areas we didn't do, like the edge line painting, some of the outer areas, South Fordia, stuff like that was in pretty good shape. Not a very brutal winter, so the paint did hold up better in some of those areas. So we kind of focused on our main areas, Main Avenue, 8th Street, McDonald's area, stuff like that, to get all that done, to try to keep that in as close to the budgeted number we had. I think our price of per gallon went almost $20 a gallon for applied, so kind of a lot. So typically we get several competitive bids. The one that is usually the most competitive did not even put in a bid this year because they got all the county work from here to Spencer and plus, I guess, so they really didn't have time to do a lot of painting in the more local areas. So, but that was done, so we'll see how that comes in. Hopefully we were able to cut enough to keep that pretty close to where we were budgeted. And also, you should have noticed the railroad crossing has been completed down there. Everything seems to be in pretty good shape. We do got to do a little seeding in some of those areas, but other than that, I think the end product is pretty good, drivable. Just have to see how some of that asphalt and whatnot holds up over time. So, but after that, to the bulleted point here, there's a letter, a blue sheet here that kind of outlines my request tonight. So back in November, council approved the purchase of a 5,000-pound forklift. It was a budgeted item from MH Equipment out of Mason City. They provided about a 30-week lead time. We reached out to them first or second week of March to see where we were at on that. And they informed us that all their orders had been put in a queue and were waiting on new, they were changing how they were producing their forklifts. We were told that we would not be receiving our forklift with that 30-week lead time from back in November, and that time they had no idea even what the lead times would be. They told us they should know by April 1st what the lead times for these new forklifts would be, but it would still be in that another 20 to 30 weeks. I contacted them the first week of April, and after several follow-ups, all the response I got was, we don't know. So with that, we reached out to the company that was the second bid, went back in November, Ryan, right here in Clear Lake, to see what their situation was with forklifts. They happened to have a equivalent 5,000-pound forklift on hand with all the specs that we had originally spec'd out, and just inquired about that. The on-hand item was $42,375, the one that they currently have on hold for us. The original item we had purchased from MH Equipment, or agreed to purchase, was $36,826. So there is about a $5,000 increase there. But that would allow us to keep it in this year's budget. The other options we have are just pushing it out to next year's budget. Ryan did say they could order us one. It would have approximately 25 to 30 week lead time with Ryan for a new one. And to order that, their price would be $38,975, so we would have some savings, but again, we'd be pushing that out into next year's budget and not keeping it in this year's budget. After discussing with Jacob and all the items, both our recommendations would be to move forward with the purchase of the existing, the one that's on hand, get that purchased and delivered right to us immediately. So with that, I'm asking council's approval to cancel the order with MH Equipment and move forward with Ryan, getting the one that they have on hand purchased. Any questions?
It meets all the
Yep.
needs you want. Okay.
Yep, it's the same. It's a pneumatic tires, rubber wheeled machine with all the pipes and so yeah, it'll be housed at Public Works, but because of the tires and stuff on it, we can take it down the road. We can take it to the water plant. We can take it to City Hall,
Okay.
PD, whatever it is, for unloading palleted stuff. What's that? Statues. Yeah.
Statues.
So, yeah, unloading the statues.
That's right, a statue.
So yeah, it'll be a great asset for us.
Okay.
We currently have to use a skid loader, which it does have forks, but it is not meant for lifting. It's not
Heavy.
it's counterweighted. So you get a little bit too much weight and it will easily tip forward. So these are have a higher reach, so it will actually reach all of our shelving in our shop as well. So safety concerns, all that stuff will definitely help us out. So.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, council, entertain a motion to approve the canceling of the MHLP lift truck and to purchase the lift truck from Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ryan Equipment, Clear Lake, at $42,375.
So moved.
Moved by Vince, seconded by Dana, that we approve the purchase of the LP lift truck from Ryan. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. City engineers report. You've got 3 seconds.
No, I was gonna apologize to you guys for
Cheating 'em.
this big load up of projects here. And I was gonna say, if Scott gets the credit for taking my speeches, he also gets the credit for making this run in a half an hour pass. But I couldn't even say that, because when you have this many projects, it means that we're doing something right.
Absolutely.
It means that people love the community and they wanna be here, and that's what we're all about. So we'll get rolling here. I'll keep it brief. So let's go ahead and start off here with the pickleball courts and basketball on 20th Street. So recently we had a few small design tweaks to the bleacher area and also the sidewalk area, and a little bit of extra fencing is getting added around that bleacher area. Before, the sidewalk was going to go off to the eastern part of, or around the eastern edge of the pickleball court, and it was going to require a lot of fill and stabilization. So I think it's a better design ultimately. It's not going to go on the east side. It's going to come right around the front, and it's going to leave a nice sitting area up there for like I said, bleachers to get installed, paddle racks and everything like that. So it'll be a nice entry part there. So we're currently working through those, and Heartland recently completed the grading for the basketball court. We had some soft soil locations within the middle part of the basketball court, which I was there. They did a proof roll across it with the dump truck. We had to ultimately end up coring out a section there because it wasn't going to ultimately hold up over the long term, so we wanted to give it the best chance as possible. So we ended up coring that out, adding some 3-inch stone into the bottom to get a good base on there with some modified over top, and then they came in and rolled that base asphalt course, luckily right before the rainstorms happened, so we got that in and set. And now we're really just waiting to let things dry up because we can't be tracking mud and everything onto the surface courses. So if everything, which it's looking a little bleak, but it's looking like some rain in the forecast. If the weather stays good this week, we're looking to get in there on Friday, and Heartland's going to do a surface course on both the basketball portion as well as the pickleball court portion. So that'll be good to get done if we can get in there. As far as that's kind of where we're at right now on that project. I'll roll in here to the East Water Tower renovation. The workers out there, they're getting a little bit behind due to weather conditions. When you have to be strapped up there and sandblasting and everything, wind is a huge factor, and as everyone knows, it's been very windy up until the last few days. So since they were outside of town, we allowed them to actually go through the night, so that allowed them to get caught back up, and they're actually on schedule as of right now. And most inspections have all been completed on that project. We're hoping to have water back in the tower on Monday, and then Adam John and Corey are gonna get all the final inspections completed on that, and hopefully we have that back in use by next Thursday. So that'll be a good thing to get back into our system, as we've had, you know, some concerns with that water tower being down. So everything's went relatively well. We worked through a few kinks early on, and everything's going good now, so we're looking forward to getting that back up on the system.
And the logo's on and it's spelled correctly, unlike that other town in Iowa.
And in the right place.
In the right place.
So I'll jump in here quick on the South Shore Estates project. So recently I went out and did sanitary inspection. So we did some low pressure testing on the lines and also vacuum testing on the manholes. All that passed and was completed. Tested storm sewer, did some video on everything. And we also got the water main extended across Lakeview there. And everything's tied in and it's looped, so we can keep good pressure and volume in our water system that way. Paving has begun out on site, so that's going to be a pretty cool thing to watch that get completed here. And hopefully, you know, pretty soon they're going to be selling houses out there, so that's a good thing to get underway. Next, I'll jump down to the MEIC, Music Enrichment Immersive Center. So that has been a little bit stalled out, mainly due to all the rains that we've been having. They did get in there, they got the excavator going, and we got the foundations dug in. We had to do some soil samples, found out that we had to go a little deeper around the outside for the spread footings to sit on. So we got down to grade on the middle portion, and then around the exterior we had to go down another 3 feet, 12 feet wide all the way around the outside, which that gets filled back in with clean stone, and that gets a good base for the spread footings and everything to set on. Due to the weather, they've kind of pulled out of there for a little bit, and they kind of moved over. I'll jump in here unless you guys have any questions on that one. I'll jump over because they jumped kind of out of the MIC portion into the streetscape project. So we got everything saw cutted on North Shore Drive and the intersection of North Shore and Buddy Holly. They did pavement removals, and they're currently working out in front of the surf. We ended up closing down the intersection of North Shore and Buddy Holly, which is proposed to be closed down. I'm really hoping that we get that open back up right before Memorial Day weekend. That's kind of the goal right now, weather permitting, of course. But as of right now, we're really planning to get all the pavement back in, hopefully next week. And then May 20th is when the landscapers are set to come in and start laying those permeable crosswalks to go across the intersection of Buddy Holly and North Shore Drive right there. As soon as that's done, we're going to open back up North Shore Drive, and we're going to move over to 7th Ave real quick. There's this crosswalk portion that goes across from 7th Ave goes across from basically in front of the surf over to the Three Stars Plaza area there. We're going to get that installed. So 7th Ave will be closed down for about hopefully a week period. We'll start on Monday, and we'll go through, hopefully give that weekend for the concrete to cure out, and then that'll be back opened up. And then from that point, right now, they're actually starting on saw cutting up Buddy Holly. So they're getting all the saw cutting done. No road closures or anything like that are taking place right now. But as soon as we get kind of everything wrapped up down on North Shore, then they're going to start the removals going up Buddy Holly. So it'll be an eventful summer on that project for sure. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. Going to jump into the Beach Drive demo project. As you guys are well aware, we originally were demoing 122 and 122 and a half, which later morphed into 126 and a half and 141, which we had a asbestos inspection completed on that, which actually, surprisingly, 141 had a little bit of asbestos around the flue area that exit the house. So we had to unfortunately kind of stop construction on that, get that remediated. Or mitigated there and removed, and then we had the contractor submitted a notice in to the Iowa DNR, which we have to wait 10 days from the point that asbestos has been removed to begin construction again. So that's going to occur. They're hoping to get back in there on May 15th and get those other two properties taken down, so that area will be cleaned up in there, and we'll be underway for hopefully some more development in that area. Any questions on that one?
Matt, I seen some guys in there still taking some stuff out. Are
Yep,
they still
they're-
there working?
Yep, there's a few things. So I talked to John Tofty with I-35 Auctions, and so the garage was removed, and they still have a few just minor items that are going to get taken out of the house, and he told me that that was going to be done prior to May 10th. So we're going in to do actual removal on May 15th of those last homes. So everything should be done and ready at that point.
Thank you.
Sure. Lakeview Room, band shell improvements. Not a entirely elaborate story to dive into on this one. They're doing the renovations inside there, sprucing everything up to make everything nice and pretty in there for all the renters that'll come through. Everything's going according to schedule on that. We're still on schedule. I've had a few meetings there. We had to do some key updates on some of that end of things, and the kitchen, casework, all that's supposed to be on schedule, and it's gonna get installed. The only thing that's really a hang up in there is there's a new family restroom inside the main Lakeview room area, and the doors are a problem right now as far as just lead times on those doors. So they're going to get a temp door in there for the time being if it doesn't arrive in time, and we'll at least still be able to rent everything out on schedule. So it's looking good at this point anyway. And then later in the year, they're going to come back, concurrently throughout the season, they're going to be off and on working on the band shell portion. But the main goal is to keep the public restrooms open to the public until we have to get in there, which we're not going to try to dive into that until more than likely after Labor Day is the plan on that. So, and for a completion in October.
The chairlift will go with the band shell.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yep. So last thing on the list here is the Emerald Cove, which you guys are pretty familiar with that one. Becky Schwab with SEH, she held they had a bid letting on that project. They had 3 bidders, McKinnis, Heartland, and Nettleton, where McKinnis was the low bidder on that project. So we actually bid that out in 2 different components. We had one which was just an asphalt base, and the other was actual PCC concrete base on everything. So the asphalt portion came in at $1,104,000, and the concrete portion came in at $1,069,000. Oh, sorry, I got those backwards. So the asphalt portion came in at $1,069,972, and the concrete portion came in at $1.1 million roughly. So the developers decided to go with PCC inside. There's both 2 components. There's the private portion, and then there's the public portion within 14th Street extension.
Mm-hmm.
So the owners, due to maintenance purposes, decided to go with PCC inside their site. And then we're actually, due to the subdivision out there currently having all asphalt infrastructure and everything built out there, we decided to continue that on the 14th Street extension. So that's the plan on that one. And just so you guys are aware, the actual engineer bid, the engineer's opinion of cost was $1,185,000. So everything came in under. So that's a good sign. There's some companies out there looking for work, and it's a good sign in the bidding environment too, that things are kind of stabilizing and starting to regulate a little bit, as you could see on the alley improvement project too. So that's with that one. And as far as construction, they're looking to kick that off here mid-May. Going to start on all the infrastructure portion. They're going to get the public and private infrastructure in. And then the plan is they got a very hefty, tight turnaround on this one. So they're set to be done with all the utility, public improvements, private utilities, everything by August 8th was the timeline on that. So they got a tight turnaround on that, but it's going to be good to see that one come to fruition, and going to be a lot added housing for that. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy.
A good report. Good. Very good. Appreciate that.
Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Thank you.
On there.
He put it on. Under Mayor's report, first of all, we sitting up here, certainly around this staff, really want to give a special thank you to our city clerk, because this is City Clerk Week, and we duly, truly, duly appreciate this young lady at my far left. Jennifer Larson has, and she's right between Scott and my office, so she truly is the glue between the two of us, I think, and that is very important to have her there. She does keep us in line, as my mother used to say. No, I'm not comparing you with my mother. So. Anyway, thanks for being here and being our city clerk. Mike, do you have anything?
I do.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem, no problem.
I saw Sorensen over here sitting, he was ready to go to sleep, but other than that, no problem. It's okay. I think Doug sent some calls, I think we're looking at 118 calls for April. We had a couple structure fires, some major 1050 car accidents too. The guys' work did a great job. The one up on the interstate with the car hitting the semi and so forth, it took a little work to get that taken care of, but the guys did a good job. Bud is on the lift. We're ready to go. Reference that. Boat's been out in the water. Everything's been tested. It should be ready to go in case we get something going on with the lake situation. Hopefully, we're not going to have to go any deeper. If we have to go deeper, we're going to have to add a dock, because we're at the very end of our dock out there as far as enough water. So hopefully, it's going to be enough. We did get the memorial pump in as well over at the fire station, and the memorial, we got that put in last weekend, so that's up and running as well. We're looking at some new ATV for fighting grass fires. We'll hopefully replace the one, our 6x. We're looking at what we're going to get on that. That'll be come up later this summer. I think we're not sure what we want to get for. It'll probably be just a 2-passenger, not a 4, for fighting grass fires. We've got 2 new firefighters we interviewed, and we've accepted those 2 guys. They'll be coming on board as soon as they get the physicals done. And then we'll put them through some training. One is an extremely experienced firefighter. The other one is a rookie. So hopefully we'll get all that taken care of. When they get their physical done, we'll be able to get them on board and get them trained up. We've got some things coming up tomorrow. If you want to come over, we have 50 people on a secret bus trip coming to Clear Lake. They have no idea where they're going when they got on the bus. They're going to end up at least at the museum. I don't know where else they're going after that or before that, but there'll be 50 of them getting off the bus tomorrow. I've got to do that. We've got another tour coming in on the 14th for both the museum and the fire station with a group of people. Memorial Day, we'll be at the seawall, obviously. We'll have the flag out and down at the seawall. We'll be part of the triathlon as well. Our guys are going to be out in the boat. We've got a crew that's going to be in the boat for the swim. We've got a crew that's going to be following along for the ATV or for the bike race and the running. Hopefully nothing's going to happen. Last year, they had some problems in the water. Some of the people had the water was the biggest problem for most of them. Hopefully it won't be quite as cold as it was. Let's see, Memorial Day, obviously, we're going to be at the seawall. Another thing, if you're interested and you're around, 3 o'clock, Memorial afternoon. Aaron Forsythe's going to play Taps Across America again. He's done that for the last 3 or 4 years. He was on CBS News the first year he did it, so we're going to do that again. I'm going to try and talk my grandson into come up and play with him. That'll be at 3 o'clock, so we're going to try and get a crowd over for that. It'd be kind of neat. We're going to be putting flags in the cemetery for our firefighters as well. That goes out on Friday. And we purchased a new drone. We have a new aerial drone that's been purchased by the association. That'll replace, it won't replace the one we have. We'll just have 2 now, but this one will be a little bit more sophisticated, a little easier to operate. We talked to an individual in California, in the California Fire Department out there, and he recommended that we use this one. It's a pretty first responder ready to use, and so we've got a crew right now. We've got 8 guys that are going to be trained to run that. So anytime we need a call, we're willing to take that anywhere, so they just have to call and let us know. But we're going to kind of have a crew of 8 guys ready to take that drone anywhere we can use it. And I think that's it. Anybody any questions?
Do we still have those, the 2 things, the heat sensor?
Yep.
And the underwater drone?
The drone is, yep, we're working with the underwater drone as well. We've got that over the station. We're going to be doing training on that now that the lake's open. We'll train on that. That's available. Anybody who wants to use it to, any place that needs to be taken to, we'll take it to them. It's one of a few in the state of Iowa, but that's underwater drone is a kind of unique tool. They still have that, and we still have the original drone we bought. But the original drone, you can't get batteries. It's hard to get batteries for them. The one we're buying now is going to probably be out of date 20 minutes after we get it in service, but at least it's a little more up to date and have some things on it that we don't have before. So we'll be getting that. That's like a $16,000 price tag. We got some money from Alliance to help with that, and we've raised our pancake money has helped with that. So we'll be, we'll be pulling that in here. I think they got it on order. Our crew got it on order here just the other day, so hopefully we'll get it as quick as possible.
And one last thing, my wife came home the other night and said, that Mike Keefe is wonderful. He gave us a program. We've never heard anything about that before. And he needs to go down in the annals of history as one of the best in Clear Lake.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Absolutely, you were awesome.
Yeah, right. That's just one of those things we do, okay? If anybody wants that program, I'd be more than happy to do it again, too.
Thank you. Thanks. Scott, Beth Ann, myself, and who else is representing Clear Lake? Chelsea and Stace.
From the
Chelsea
chamber.
Snyder are headed out Monday for 3 days in DC, and it's called the North Iowa Delegation. We've done that a number of years prior to COVID, haven't done it. This is the first time since COVID, and real quick, some of the things that will be gone, and mostly it's go out on Monday and return on Wednesday, and Tuesday is the big day for us out there, which we start 7 a.m. in the morning, but there'll be a U.S. Chamber presentation. We go to Essential Air Service, Department of Transportation office. We go to Representative Ashley Hinson's office. We have a tour of the U.S. Capitol, the USDA Renewable Fuels and Sustainable Aviation Fuel. There's an office specifically for that. Union Pacific Railroad, Senator Grassley's office, Senator Joni Ernst's office, and the Department of Transportation Federal Highway Funding. And, we will certainly report on those areas that we have been fortunate to have taken advantage of, you might say, to use in our community. So looking forward to that. It's going to be a long, hard, fast out and back trip, but very focused, as I said, on that one Tuesday. And there will be a total of 18 from North Iowa County, Mason City, and Clear Lake. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
Okay. And you're on.
I'm just very brief. Invite everyone. John Snow has an open house for his development up on Wood Lane Drive this Friday, John, 11:30. And he's cooking steaks and burgers and brats for everybody that comes. And so get there early.
Get there.
And no, the only thing not affected by inflation is that pancake breakfast that Mike puts on every year. So.
It can be affected by it. I mean, we can raise the prices. Everybody shows up, we can sell them.
Anything else?